Back in 2018 here in Ohio, we had another issue one, and it was for fair districts in Ohio. And, at the time we were told, oh, this is going to end gerrymandering. Finally, we got something to end gerrymandering. And I tried to have faith in it. I got to tell you, it actually won by an overwhelming 74% here in the state. Even that ridiculous special election that they held last August, where they tried to change that to 60%. I knew at the time they had no respect for the 74% of that fair districts referendum. How were they going to ever respect 60%? They just weren't. That was a ploy. A lot of people thought it might be because of the abortion issue. Truth of the matter is, 60% wasn't going to affect that because it didn't go, according to the way it was written, into effect until January 1st. So it would have been after the election. But, the fact of the matter is what's going on now with our issue one has a lot to do with what that special election was about back then. Now the fair districts back in 2018, we knew going in, this isn't even going to go into our Constitution until 2022. They had to wait for the census to be finished, and that's how they draw the maps, is from the census. And so, going into 22, we knew that, this is when we get it. We're not going to have it for the 2020 election, but by 2022, we were promised by the state that it would be in effect by then. What we got was, a commission. And herein lies the flaw with the original Fair Districts Act, is that it put together a commission based on who's in power in the state house, who's in power in the governor's seat, secretary of state, the state house. So what we got was, because of our heavily gerrymandered districts and the fact that the GOP has given themselves a supermajority in the state house, is there were, I believe, 8 Republicans and 2 Democrats on that commission to rewrite the maps. And so they kept getting shot down as unconstitutional, even by our state Supreme Court, which leaned Republican. Even they said, no, this is not, you rewrite these, this is not the way that it's supposed to be done. And what they did was they ran out the clock, to where finally it was like, well, we can't change it now. Can't change the districts now because we need to print the ballots for the midterm election. Well, if that was going to be their excuse back then, what was the excuse between now and then? Because here it is, 2024, we still have the same gerrymandered maps. It's not been fixed. And, just, we can't trust the people in the state house. We cannot trust what is the leadership that we have to do what's right and follow the law. They're just simply not going to give themselves, they're not going to draw a map in a way that they lose their power and their income sources, because let's face it, it pays pretty well to be in the state house, and I ain't talking about the paycheck from the state. Now, we have a real issue with the way things are brought forward to the people of Ohio, starting with Frank LaRosa, who has a habit of rewriting. He'll take a word here and a word there in these referendums, and he will change it just enough that people believe it's something different from what it is. And so you have to really pay attention to what the original wording was, because that is the actual referendum, not Frank LaRosa's interpretation thereof. And another thing that is highly concerning to me is there's currently an ad running on TV all across Ohio telling us that issue one will take away these immigration policies that they've put in place to protect the state of Ohio. Now, I'm going to tell you right here and now, ain't nothing about issue one that concerns immigration at all. This is how we are represented in Ohio, how our districts are drawn in a fair manner that represents this state. This state is probably closer to 60-40, leaning towards, the GOP. Well, then that's how we need to be represented. And when you're sitting there with an 80-20, that's not us at all. That's not how this state is represented. And we need to be more aware of how we are putting people into power in a place where they are making laws for you and I, because that's who they work for, us, the people of Ohio, and they need to keep that in mind. Issue one, this time around in 2024, November 5th, is to take the politicians out of the process of writing those maps. And that's what we need. We need a bipartisan commission of citizens that don't have a horse in the race, because when the politicians get up in there, all they know is they have got to keep themselves in power. And that's not the way it should work. Vote yes on issue one. Love you.